this Saturday on the Other Vibe for our penultimate episode of Series 3. I'm joined by Rob and Adam of the Howling Tides.
We alluded at the time. We were like, "Oh, there's an EP that's coming soon."
Yeah.
2 years later, we're finally here. The most longly anticipated EP that we've seen.
Adam went really all out with the bass recording process. He got himself a fretless bass. You know, he's doing these kind of crazy slid bass parts, and it just added so much more like brightness to the way that the song was written. The engineer Andy, he pulled out this Roland tape space echo that he had from like yonks ago, really vintage piece of gear. And I remember we just kind of sat there, and for about 2 hours or so we're just trying to get this delay sound out of this thing, and he was like, it's a bit broken, so if one of you stands here and jams a pen into this side of it and then if you press this button at this specific point, and then we'll get the desired sound.
Well, thanks for jumping on anyway. I know it's a bit later than probably normal, but
It's all groovy. You've got a nice ambiance going on there.
I know, right? The last two guests that I've had on have both said it looks like I'm trying to woo them. It looks like some weird.
Consider me wooed, Ryan.
Yeah.
Hey,
come out this week and be on the vibe. Rob learns how to use Zoom.
You did it in the Beyond the Vibe voice. Then I love that.
Yeah. So I'm here with half of the Howling Tides, Rob and Adam. Thanks for joining me once again. It's been a fair while since you guys last came on. Way back when in the first season with episode 3 back in 2020. So it's been a fair while.
Remember it well. Good times.
Yeah, good times. Of course, since then you've gone on to, tour with Ricky Warwick. You were the main support with Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons at Just Bridge Play Festival. How's the last year or so kind of been for you guys? Like, as an overview.
It's been busy, to say the least. Start of the year with the 2 tours that we did. So we did the tour with Ricky Warwick, and then we went to Ibiza to play Hard Rock Hell Ibiza, and then we went on tour with Anchor Lane around the country on the co-headliner, and then we've just had a kind of smattering of some pretty decent gigs since then, and obviously what with us been writing and having this upcoming release, it's all been a bit just crazy, really.
It felt busy. Right? Like every time I kept seeing your page turn up, it was like, "Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to be here. We're going to, we're in Ibiza." I was like, "What's going on?"
we like to surprise people. We like to hit them with, we're in another country all of a sudden."
Yeah. I think this is the most we've travelled.
Yeah,
all over the place.
Probably the busiest year we've ever had, I would say, and definitely the most miles travelled. I think in just the Ricky tour, it was something like, I think I did the math, it was like 1,012 miles, something like, I can't remember. I only did that because I only know that because one of my pictures from the tour, my Instagram caption was roughly 1,012 miles of sweat and service station sandwiches personified.
It is crazy. I presume you've had, particularly with that Ricky Warwick tour, you had like so many places that you just have never been to, parts of this country where it's like a whole new group of people, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with the Ricky tour, I mean, it was like we do like London one day, and then we'd be straight over to Swansea. And can I just say as well that big shout out to all of our Welsh fans, because not only was the Swansea date fantastic, but we also played recently with Those Damn Crows in Tembe Harbour of all places.
Yes,
and that was just an unbelievable show. It was really, really crazy. It was absolutely packed, and just obviously Wales is lovely. We love Wales a lot.
We do, yeah.
Now, I believe like when we first spoke all those years ago now, we alluded at the time. We were like, "Oh, there's an EP that's coming soon."
Yeah.
2 years later, we're finally here. The most longly anticipated EP that we've seen. Of course, now Blue Moon.
Yes,
what was what was the process kind of behind this long EP? And of course, it was mixed and mastered by, my previous guest, Ollie Brown, who spoke of you guys like really highly. I mentioned him and he's like, I did the thing with them. They were great.
Obviously we say that's all the same about Ollie. He's not only he's been like a great mixing and mastering engineer, but he's also just a good friend and a really nice guy. So yeah, can't say enough good things about him, really. He's just added a lot of weight to the sound of the tracks. I mean, when we were recording them at the Superfly Studios in Ollerton, we recorded at, and our recording engineer Andy kind of half produced it with us, and we were chuffed with the sound that we got just off the back of that. And then Ollie just came in and brought in so much more that we didn't think was kind of possible. So yeah, it just sounded fantastic, really. Yeah.
Is it like a real kind of hands-on thing when Ollie comes in? Are you guys all there and it's like, we'd like a bit of this, we'd like,
It's more because of the geography of the whole thing. It's more we'll jump on a Zoom with Ollie, and we'll just kind of, obviously we'll have a bit of a catch up first and a bit of a laugh about things, but then we'll talk through the tracks, and he's really attentive with what we want out of it and all that stuff. And the process was very much just like, obviously you got to be a bit nitpicky about certain things, but Ollie's just like, sound, I'll do it, like no problem.
How do you, both of you kind of feel about this EP? I mean, I've read in a couple of other previous kind of written type interviews that you spoke about wanting to like really push the boundaries with this and kind of take you into a bit of a new territory.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously before I joined the band, it was your classic rock, like straight up classic rock songs. And I thought, with Luke leaving and me coming in, it's like, how can we mix it up a bit? Like, let's stand out from the crowd. I mean, the scene is great, but we really want to like push boundaries. We don't play things safe. It's like you were talking about White Crow. We went into that with it's solid classic rock songs. And then in the studio one day, we were just kind of messing about. And then that whole like choral bridge section came, and it's like, this is weird. Let's Bohemian Rhapsody it up a bit.
Yeah, we got carried away in like the best possible way with a few of the recording parts in that song, and obviously pushing the boundaries within reason, of course, of being like a hard rock kind of band. But in terms of the recording process, we did stuff that we'd never done before. We played around a lot more, because when we'd been in the studio before, it was very much just like get in, do these tracks, maybe a bit of a mess around with some tones, but we feel like we had a bit more kind of agency and freedom with the recording process on this one. I mean, I think we went all out. I mean, like Adam said in the bridge section of White Crow, the engineer Andy, he pulled out this Roland tape Space Echo that he had from like yonks ago, really vintage piece of gear. And I remember we just kind of sat there, and for about 2 hours or so, we're just trying to get this delay sound out of this thing. And he was like, it's a bit broken, so if one of you stands here and jams a pen into this side of it, and then if you press this button at this specific point, and then we'll get the desired sound. And it worked out really well. It was just a really rewarding process. And it would be one of those where we'd think, this section needs a bit more. And then Andy would turn around and he's like, I've got a Leslie speaker. Do you want to use that? Yeah, go on then. Let's give that a try. Yeah, and he, vintage amps all day. I think some of my parts for Fortune were recorded on like a Vox. It was an AC30 from like the late 60s, early 70s, I think. And it's just a beautiful piece of kit. Everything in his studio really is brilliant, but we did a lot of messing around. I think, Adam, I remember we were playing Fortune, the ballad that we're going to release with this new EP that obviously everyone's going to be able to hear that soon. But, they will be able to hear it now. But Adam went really all out with the bass recording process. He got himself a fretless bass, he's doing these kind of crazy slid bass parts, and it just added so much more like brightness to the way that the song was written, and so much more intrigue.
How do you feel about playing a fretless bass, Adam? I mean,
a bit in the deep end.
I was going to say, because I remember way back, I spoke with Troy, and Troy Redfern. He spoke about Bumblefoot handed him his fretless guitar on a live evening, and he'd never played fretless, and he was like, "This feels like another level," you know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like you just pick up a violin. It's like, oh, it's just a piece of wood. There's nothing there. It's like, there's no frets. Where are the frets? This is weird.
Is it just like is it different? I mean, I'm not obviously a musician, so does it feel different?
So my fretless is strung with flatline strings. You get a lot like deeper, richer tone. It's a lot smoother. So lots of the like 80s pop songs you can hear, your Pino Palladino kind of stuff. It's very silky and smooth, and it's not like, you can get brightness, but it's not overly bright. Like you kind of want it to mix in really well. I feel like that's the best way I can describe it, really.
I think that's why it works. Yeah, to be honest, I think that's why it works so well within the context of recording, because we did so much layering with all the different tones and guitar parts, because we wanted, I think at one point we were like, oh, let's put an acoustic in there as well. Let's do the one with the Vox. Let's do 2 more rhythm tracks. Let's do a lead. And just so many different things. And that's why it sits so nicely with all of that stuff.
Of course, you know, you guys put a lot of these EP songs into, you know, it's become like real staples in your set list. You know, having been and seen you guys a couple of times now, you know, like you see White Crow in there quite a lot. When you guys were making this EP, did you think about that kind of live experience, about kind of like, you know, we'd like something kind of like this in our set, or is that just kind of coincidental?
It's a mixture of a lot of things, really. It's with the writing of this EP, it wasn't quite as simple as we all get together, we write the songs, we go into the studio, we record them. Some of the songs we had like kind of like finished or part finished. Well, most of them we had finished or parts finished before Adam actually joined, and then it was so weird for us because having this entirely new presence in the band, Adam came in, rewrote all the bass parts, added a fretless bass part in the ballad, you know, and it was just like, it for us three, it was like hearing a completely new dimension on the songs that we'd, you know, worked really hard on, and we're just like, oh wow, okay, you know, this is adding a lot. So there was a lot to the process, and then obviously we messed around with them even more in the studio, and there's a lot to be said for the process of you know, getting really hands-on with the recording process and being willing to change things around on the fly and fuck around with things and mess with it. And yeah, it was a long and complicated process. And in terms of playing them live, trying to get that live vibe in, we'd been playing the songs for a little while, and obviously because of COVID, if COVID hadn't been around and we'd have released the songs, you know, when we intended to, we wouldn't have been playing the songs live with this lineup for too long. But it's one of those now where we play the songs, and it's nice to play something that we're releasing soon, but it doesn't feel as fresh as we'd like it to. You know, because of COVID and all that. But that's one of those things that you sort of got to live with this. It's part of the process, really, of coming out of that we're all in healing, the world is in healing, and that's just part of it, really.
No, I think it'd be great now, because, you know, like a lot of these tracks that are on this EP, they're the ones that kind of have stuck with me when I've left the gig. So it's great now for people, when the gig's ended, they can now go and buy them.
Yeah, you know, definitely.
They just have to remain waiting.
100%. Yeah, it's even more so as well, because we only play live, really. We only play 2 tracks from the debut EP that we recorded. So it's one of the, and obviously we released the singles, but that was in the last 6 months or so. So before that, it would be like we'd be playing all these songs live, and we'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna release them soon-ish.
There's a plan on it.
There's a plan. We can't tell you what it is. It's one of those, though, that you just keep hitting little hiccups and getting busy and stuff. And it's the start, obviously, like I said, like we said earlier, the start of this year was so crazy that we barely have 5 minutes to sit down and plan a release, even if we wanted to release it then, you know.
I mean, one of the other things that really struck me when you first announced it was the cover art in particular. I thought this is great. You know, it looks really top quality. Did you guys, when you went to the artist, did you have like a vision in mind, or do you just go make something cool?
That is a good question. I think it's more along the lines of make something cool. I mean, to be honest, Adam had more communication with Andrew, the guy who does the art. Adam's probably going to have a better idea of this than I am, I would say.
This artwork's been in planning since before I was here as well. So
Wow.
it was Andrew who did the artwork. Morgan Creative did the first EP that the guys released. I think we planned for like Blue Moon to be the title of the EP, and I think Andrew just kind of ran with the idea of Blue Moon and thought, hey, you know, Howling Tides, Blue Moon, let's mix these ideas together. Like with the first EP being like the merman, everything's kind of like different like creatures of the sea. So it's like a very cool psychedelic moon with 3 eyes and sunnies and
It's almost like, and we know he didn't do this for a fact, but it's almost like he kind of like dropped some kind of drugs or something and just thought, right, Blue Moon, what can I do with this?
I felt like
that is, sorry to interrupt, Ryan, that's
cool.
a pretty poignant point, which I won't say too vocally about the song, but the context in which that song was written does relate to certain substances.
I was going to say, I felt like, just about to be like, I felt like there was some kind of tie into that song.
Yeah. It's in the lyrics. You can hear it now. Of course, it's all in the lyrics. You can make your own assumptions.
Yeah. Do you guys kind of, you know, by the time this comes out, we've only got 1 more month left of this year, madly. Do you guys kind of have any plans moving forward? You know, taking this EP out in the new year?
I think it's really just a case of we're sitting on a lot of things again. It seems to be whenever you ask us this question, we're always just kind of like, it's all
I'll come back in 2 years and
it's on the way. No, not 2 years this time. Not 2 years, definitely not. We've got some stuff on the horizon that we're ready to announce, especially for the start of the year. That's going to be quite hefty. That's going to be a really good start to the year. If anyone came to our first show this year, then they might know what I'm referring to. We did the rescue rooms in Nottingham, and may or may not be doing that again. So good start to the year, and then hopefully get some tours and some more big shows on the go, and just see where it takes us.
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, there's still so many bands that are only just like announcing next year.
That's it, yeah. And like you said, yeah, anything can happen. It is one of those at the moment where we've got our fingers, obviously our management have got our fingers in a few different pies and hoping to get us in a few different places, putting in inquiries, all of that jazz. So there'll be some news relatively soon, I hope.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll be another foreign country. I mean, we mentioned, I think before this kind of chat began, that White Crow was getting some like Brazilian audience.
Yeah, so an entire tour of South America in the summer.
This is it.
No, it's a really weird one, that actually, and obviously we're really ecstatic about it. But I remember checking the Spotify for Artists app and being like, in Sao Paulo, they really like this song. It's great, to be honest. Yeah, it's great. We're racking up the streams with it. If they love it, they love it, you know?
Yeah. So any stadiums available in Sao Paulo next year?
Exactly, yeah. we were thinking of getting, Ryan, you were at the Rescue Room show. You'll remember this, but we had that beer, the recently discovered beer, Superbock.
Yes.
There's a Superbock stadium.
Oh my God! This is
our band's entire ambition to play the Superbock Stadium and get that Superbock endorsement.
If Superbock are listening, I think this is the perfect band for a sponsorship.
I completely agree.
Yeah. What do you mean? Absolutely, that's right. Superbock, give us the sponsorship.
Well, we've still got pictures in the archive of you guys with Superbox.
Yeah. That's actually that features into some of the content actually that we're planning on releasing with the new EP.
Perfection.
It's. I remember we for like a week after, because we got that huge industrial crate of Superbox on the rider for the Rescue Room show, and it was just like we were making these jokes like, "Oh, let's take it to Buckingham Palace," kind of thing. Like all of these stupid jokes with Bock in the name.
Oh, yeah. Now, a question I'd like to kind of finish on for returning guests, particularly related to the topic of albums. If there was an album that, you guys could go back and be a part of in some kind of way, whether that, be guesting on it or, just being around it and, seeing it kind of unfold, what would that album be for you guys?
Oh, Adam, I'm going to have to think about this. I'm going to have to take this first, mate.
I know. I always have to end on a really tough, correct question.
I think a relatively recent... Actually, no, we'll go for two. So I've been really into the Dead Daisies in a minute. The last two albums, absolutely insane. But I mean, there's no way I'm going to ever beat out Glenn Hughes. I feel like as a bass player, I'll stand in the corner of the room. I'm never going to play over Glenn Hughes.
You could run him with fretless bass,
Here, take this.
Yeah.
The other one would be Wolf Van Halen's album. Like, man, insane. Again, the guy does everything, so I feel like I just stood in the room again. Just show me how it's done. Yeah, that's the main bit. Show us how it's done.
That would be interesting to just see him work his way through each thing.
Yeah. Do you reckon he does all the instruments at the same time?
Some kind of one-man band.
I need to know.
I think he's got that the either a double neck, like a bass on one neck, and like Mad Max, on top, just like bass on the top, guitar on the bottom.
So we've got potentially Dead Daisies and Mammoth. What are we going with, Rob?
I would have to say, at the moment, I'm a huge fan of John Martin, the acoustic singer-songwriter. I'm just a massive, massive fan of his work. And I think it's 1970, it's either 2 or 4, I can't remember. But his kind of seminal album, Solid Air, in terms of songwriting and playing and just pouring emotion into music, and it's just unbelievable. And even just to be there, again, it's one of those, like Adam said, I don't think I could hold a candle to his playing. Maybe I could do some like backing vocals, some oohs or something, but just to see that unfold, see the creative processes that go into that and the recording of it and the structure of the whole thing, it'd be amazing.
You're going to have to meet Tom from Cardinal Black. He's like a huge John Martin fan. He's big on him. Yeah.
To be fair, we saw Cardinal Black at Rocks. Was it Planet Rockstar?
No. We played with them at Winter's End.
Winter's End, Planet Rock. I knew it was a Planet Rock one. It was Winter's End, and oh my god, I didn't know what to expect, but we were kind of stood there just like.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So again, if Cardinal Black you're watching, like we you guys are awesome.
No, I mean that's some strong choices there. I mean some range as well, Dead Daisies, John Martin, Mammoth. I mean that's pretty strong. Of course, for those that want to listen to the EP, buy the EP, it is out now. I mean, it's a day old at the time of the release of this. Where can people get it, guys?
You can get it via our website. You can stream it on all major streaming platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, all those big boys. You can get merch via our Noise merch page as well. So we have we have new t-shirt designs. We got tote bags if it takes you fancy. All sorts of stuff. Yeah, we got physical copies available on there. Obviously, if you catch us at any show in the future, you can buy copies from us there. Just everywhere, really. Have a look on our socials. We'll be advertising things constantly, releasing new content. By the time this video is released as well, we will have released a new music video as well. So everybody get on that. It's called Cut Your Losses. And the man himself here, Ryan, filmed it.
Look at that.
There you go.
The most beautiful piece of footage you'll ever see in your life.
Unbelievable. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Cinematic genius.
You know? Stand aside, Stanley Kubrick. That's all I'm saying. Well, thanks very much for you guys joining me. And hopefully I'll catch you on the road again soon. I mean, if you're in Nottingham Rescue Rooms, probably see you there.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Yeah, always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been cool, man. Cheers.